For today's video, I will be doing problem number 5 from section 4.1, which asks us to find the absolute maximum and minimum values of the function on the given interval. So our function is f of x, x squared minus 9, and our interval is -3 to 4. And so we already know that we have x values that we can use for this problem of -3 and 4. And those are the endpoints of this function here, the -3 and the 4. But to determine absolute maximum and absolute minimum, we also need to find critical points. And critical points are when the derivative of f, which will f prime c, or we could use x since I used x in my equation, is equal to 0, or when it does not exist. So to find the critical points, we find the derivative of our function. So I'm just going to change this to x since I'm using x. And we set it equal to 0. So again, we already have the x value equal to -3, and we already have the x value equal to 4. And our original function was x squared minus 9 is equal to f of x. So f prime of x, so the derivative of f of x, is just 2x. And when I take 2x and I set it equal to 0, so I go 2x equal to 0, x then is equal to 0. So this is our critical point. At x equals 0 is our critical point. And again, these are our endpoints in the outer edges of the interval of the -3 and the 4. So now we have to evaluate our function, which is our original function, and plug in all these values, and we're going to get an output. And then once we do that, the largest number that we get will be the absolute maximum value, and the lowest output number we get will be the absolute minimum value. So I'm evaluating f of -3, f of 0, and f of 4. So f of -3, when I plug that in, I put a -3 squared minus 9. -3 squared is 9, minus 9 is equal to 0. And I'm just going to circle the final answers. F of 0 is equal to 0 squared minus 9. 0 squared is 0, minus 9 is equal to a -9. And our last point of f of 4, plug it into the original equation, 4 squared minus 9, which is 16 minus 9, which is equal to 7. And when we look at these three values, we see that 0's in between these two because 7 is our largest positive value and -9 is our largest, is the minimum value. So then when we write this out, we would have the absolute maximum value is equal to the largest number, which is 7. And then the absolute minimum value equal to a -9, which was our smallest value here. And that is how you solve problem number 5 from 4.1.